also have a private member's motion, and we expect the House to consider 2 bills that are coming at committee stage, and thereafter we will have a resumption of debate on a motion of thanks, the President's address. So just now we look at the details of the order paper.
Yes, we have urgent matters without notice, as Mantimba mentioned earlier, and then after we have questions for oral answer, understanding order 82, and one of the questions is coming from Bangweulu Member of Parliament, Mr. Anthony Kasandwe, and is directing his question to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. In the first part of the question, he wants to know whether the government is aware that the following sections of Kantansha Twingi Road in Bangweulu Parliamentary constituency have been washed away, thereby cutting off communities and disrupting access to essential public services. And these are Chisanka Miloke and Bulongwa Chisanka. And part B, if so, when the road will be repaired and to restore connectivity to ensure access to essential public services. And part C, whether government will consider creating a temporal crossing and detour while awaiting for the repair of the road to ensure connectivity.
Question 234 on the order paper today is expected to come from Kantanshi Member of Parliament, Mr. Anton Mumba. His question will be directed to the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development. He wants to find out a question in 2 parts. In part A, what urgent measures the government is taking to ensure mining safety at Mopani Copper Mines PLC in Mufulira District following a fatal accident which occurred on Tuesday, 13th January 2026. In part B, he wants to find out what other measures the government is taking to avert any further loss of life in the mining sector in Zambia.
And we have 2 questions coming for consideration, understanding order number 80. These are questions of ordinary nature, and one of the questions is coming from Chiluvi Member of Parliament, Mr. Mlenga Fube, and he wants to find out from the Minister of Finance and National Planning, and part A of the question, what the number of the toll gate was countrywide as of August 2025, and part B, how much revenue on average is collected from each toll gate per month, and part C, what the revenue collected is used for.
Question 235, understanding order 80. This is a question which is coming from Chiluvi Member of Parliament, Mr. Mulenga Fube, and his question will be directed to the Minister of Finance and National Planning. He wants to find out a question in 3 parts. What are the number of toll gates was countrywide as of August 2025, and how much revenue on average is collected from each toll gate per month, and what the revenue collected is used for.
Yes, we have another question coming from Chinsali, a Member of Parliament, Mr. Kalarumukosa, and he wants to find out from the Minister of Health a question that is coming in 3 parts. Part A, whether the government has any capacity building programs for the health workers in Chinsali district, and part B, if so, what the programs are, and part C, if there are no such programs, why.
And we also expect the House to consider 2 grouped questions for oral answer, understanding order 83, and question 237 and 238 to come from Chinsali Member of Parliament, Mr. Kalalwe Mukosa. And in the first part of his question, he would direct this question to the Minister of Health. He wants to find out a question in 5 parts. In part A, how many community health assistants there were in Chinsali district as of August 2025? Of these, how many were on government payroll? What support the government renders to health assistants who are not on payroll. In part D, he wants to find out whether the health assistants who are not on payroll are given preference during recruitment, and in part E, if preference is not given to the health assistants at DY.
Still coming from Chinsali Member of Parliament, Mr. Kalalwe Mukosa, we have a question that is directed to the Minister of Health, and this is question number 238 on today's order paper. Part A of the question, he wants to know how many of the following were at Chinsali General Hospital as of September 2025. 1, health workers. 2, staff houses. And part B of the question, whether the government has any plans to build additional staff houses for health staff. And part C, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And part D, if there are no such plans, why.
And on the order paper today, we have 1 question for written answer, understanding order 81. This is a question from Chiluvi Member of Parliament, Mr. Mulenga Fube, and this question is directed to the Minister of Agriculture, where he wants to find out how many metric tons of the following crops were produced in 2024-2025 farming season province by province. These are maize, rice, sunflower, soya beans, and ordinary beans.
And after that, we have one private member's motion to be moved by Kamfinsa Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Kangombe, and this motion is titled Review and Strengthen Legal and Administrative Framework Governing the Acquisition of Land by Foreign Nationals in Zambia. And this motion is urging that the House urges the government to review and strengthen the legal administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in Zambia. And this motion is expected to be seconded by Mr. Yota Mutaya Chalo, Member of Parliament for Chama North.
After that private member's motion, we expect the House to consider two bills that are coming at committee stage. The first one is the Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025, and the other one is the Zambia Deposit Insurance Corporation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2025.
And after that, we expect the House to continue with the debate on the motion of thanks. So we expect the House to the resumption of debate on the motion of thanks. The motion of thanks by the President's address to the House of 20th February 2026, and that the thanks of the Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address to the House. And this motion was moved by Chikankata Member of Parliament, Ms. Jacqueline Sabao, on 24th February 2024. So we expect the House to continue debating this motion this afternoon. So basically, that is what is contained on today's order paper, and that is what is expected to come for discussion.
And so just now we quickly just give you an update of what was considered on the floor of the House on Friday, 27th February 2026. A notice was taken at 0903 hours that quorum not formed. Madam First Deputy Speaker ordered the bells to be rung, House counted, and quorum having been formed, a business commenced thereafter. Madam First Deputy Speaker did make 3 announcements. And in the first announcement, Madam First Deputy Speaker acquainted the House with the presence in the Speaker's gallery of Mr. Alex Ongutu, Interparliamentary Union representative from Kenya, who was visiting Zambia on official duties. Madam First Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the distinguished guests to the National Assembly.
And whilst on that, Madam Speaker also did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Great North Academy School in Lusaka, and also Njase Girls Secondary School in the Choma District. And on behalf of the institution, the Honorable Madam Speaker welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
And in the other announcement, Madam First Deputy Speaker informed the House that at its meeting held on Thursday, 26 February 2026, the House Business Committee resolved to defer the sitting of the House for the week 10th to 13th March 2026 to the following week, 17th to 20 March 2026. This resolution followed requests from honorable members who wanted to attend 2 important national events in their constituencies. These are the International Women's Day on 8th March and the Youth Day on 12 March 2026. In this regard, the House Business Committee resolved to realign the sitting of the House for the week 10th to 13th March 2026 to the following week, 17th to 20 March 2026.
And in line with that announcement, the Vice President presented the business statement for the period 3rd to 6th March, and also from 17th to 20th March 2026, when business is expected to rise. And the House also did consider questions without notice during her honor, the Vice President's question time.
And after that, the House also considered question for oral answer number 229, understanding order 82, and questions for oral answer number 230 to 232, understanding order 80.
The House also considered the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2025. And just now we cross over to the floor of the House as the Honorable Madam Speaker's procession makes its way into the House. Good afternoon.
Honorable members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. All the honorable members have a number of announcements. The first, honorable members, I wish to acquaint the House with the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of the following staff from the Parliament of Uganda. Ms. Namata Sylvia, Liaison Officer. Mr. Mutumba Abbas, Police Analyst. Ms. Nakasumba Fatina, Liaison Officer. Ms. Karisima Catherine, Officer Assistant. I wish on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia to receive our guests and warmly welcome them in our midst. I thank you. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of councillors from Lundazi Town Council in Lundazi District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next one, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Monique Pre and Primary School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Rhodes Park School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. You may take your seats. Thank you. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of students from Supershine University in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of councillors from Lukulu Town Council in Lukulu District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of councillors from Kayema Town Council in Kayema District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, hopefully the last one. Honorable members, I wish to inform you that the National Assembly has recorded a high number of members of the general public visiting the institution to observe a sitting of the House. This is a positive development, especially that it is in line with the National Assembly Strategic Plan 2022-2026, Pillar 2, on public participation. In view of this, please be informed that in order for the institution to smoothly coordinate these visits, members of Parliament who wish to bring visitors to the National Assembly to observe a sitting must notify the Public and International Relations Department at least 2 weeks before the visit. This will ensure that the visits are well organized and beneficial to the visitors. This also enables my office to welcome and correctly recognize the visitors. I thank you. I was saying hopefully the last one, there's another one. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of councillors from Kapirimposhi Town Council in Kapirimposhi District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next is urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member from Kano.
Madam Speaker, the urgent matter without notice which I wish to raise is directed to the Acting Leader of Government Business. Madam Speaker, over the weekend, a disaster struck, which disaster has not just affected the Copper Belt, but the entire country as well as the entire southern region. Madam Speaker, you wish to know, if a day passes of trucks not moving to Kasumbalesa, the consequences are dire. Issues of criminality on that stretch, health concerns because the truckers will have nowhere to go and respond to the call of nature are things that now confront us today. Madam Speaker, the disaster that happened on the Chingola-Kasumbalesa road brings into question a number of issues, ranging from the competence of the people we are picking to manage as consultant these projects. Also, the criteria we are using to pick such contractors and suspicions of corruption around such projects. Madam Speaker, is the acting leader of government business in order not to come to speak to the nation, assure them of these concerns, namely the prospects of disease outbreak, criminality on that road, as well as the sabotage to the economy that has happened on that stretch. I seek your indulgence, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member Fonkana. I believe the executive is already aware of that situation and they are dealing with it. And I believe there is a ministerial statement that is going to be issued. So please hold on to your questions and then you can ask your questions after the ministerial statement is rendered. So the matter is not admitted. The Honorable Member for Mufulira.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I wish to raise this matter of agency directed at the Minister of Local Government. I see it's not here, but it can as well be directed at the acting leader of government business. Madam Speaker, the issue of ambulances procured under CDF, you may be aware that it attracted a lot of national interest, mainly because of so many factors, among them the method of procurement and also the delay by the contracted supplier to deliver the ambulances to all 156 constituencies across the country. I'm aware, Madam Speaker, that last year in September, 119 ambulances were given out, leaving 37 constituencies, including Mufulira Central Constituency, without an ambulance. Madam Speaker, you may wish to know that last year, before those ambulances were distributed, I had the chance to visit Zamsa. And I saw, when those ambulances were packed, that there was an ambulance which was marked Mufulira Central Constituency. I saw it with my own eyes, and I even took a picture. Between moving from Zamsa and the showgrounds, that ambulance, which was clearly marked from Mufulira Central Constituency, disappeared. Up to today, no one knows where that ambulance has gone. Madam Speaker, in Mufulira we have 3 constituencies, Kantanshi, Kankoyo, and Mufulira. The other 2 constituencies have received their ambulances. Mufulira Central Constituency has not. Madam Speaker, we are remaining with very few months before this government disappears. Are they going to leave government without delivering the ambulance for the people of Mufulira Central Constituency?
Your time is up.
Madam Speaker, I seek your guidance why the Minister of Local Government, who I must appreciate has been doing a very good job in that role, why the Minister of Local Government has not updated the people of Mufulira and 36 other constituencies when the ambulances will be delivered. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Mufulira. Clearly, that matter does not qualify to be raised as an urgent matter without notice. So the Honorable Member is advised to explore other means and ways of bringing the matter to the floor or to the attention of the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development or to the acting leader of government business in the House. So the matter is not admitted. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, the war has broken out in the Middle East following the bombardment of Iran, and should I simply say joint operations by Israel and the US. This, Madam Speaker, has followed. Iran has retaliated and is hitting Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, and the other countries around that area. Madam Speaker, these countries are trade countries where most of our citizens do go for trade activities and other business ventures, Madam Speaker, as well as students who are there for school. I therefore direct this urgent matter without notice at the acting leader of government business in the House to seek government's position and what measures government is taking to ensure that our people who could have been caught in the war are being secured. Madam Speaker, flights have been cancelled, the airspaces around that area have been closed, and most of the people around the world are stranded in that particular region. The more reason, Madam Speaker, I seek your very serious indulgence in this very serious matter to ensure that our citizens who are caught up in the crossfire, Madam Speaker, are evacuated to come back to our country. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member from Pika. These issues that touch on foreign nations or what is happening abroad are under the responsibility of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. We don't have the full details, so it will be premature for us to comment on such sensitive matters, and the government is aware of what is happening. I believe there was Honorable Member from Pika, you are responding. I'm trying to guide you. You raise an urgent matter. So there was an advisory note that was issued just over the weekend by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. So why don't we leave that matter to the responsible ministry? At the appropriate time, they will come and brief us. The government is already aware. I think there was even a statement issued by the President. So let's wait and see what is going to happen. Our role, honorable members, as members of Parliament, is to provide oversight on what the executive is doing. We are not the monitors or to push, no, do this at the whatever time as and when we please. Let's allow the executive to discharge its functions, and at the appropriate time, we'll make them account. So that matter is not admitted. Let's make progress. Questions for oral answer with understanding order 82. The Honorable Member for Bangweulu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 233.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Anthony Kasandwe to ask the Minister of Infrastructure and Housing and Urban Development 3 questions. A, whether the government is aware that the following sections of the Katansha-Twingi Road in Bangweulu Parliamentary Constituency have been washed away, thereby cutting off communities and disrupting access to essential public services. Chinsaka.
Order, honorable members, can we listen to the Honorable Minister who is trying to answer or who is answering the question that is on the floor of the House, asked by the Honorable Member for Bangweulu. Please, let's tone down on what we are discussing, because I can hear whatever you are saying from here. And if for any reason any honorable member cannot control their voice, you can step outside quietly and go and... Honorable Member for Ngulunte, I'm giving guidance and you are standing up. What has happened? Just wait for me to give guidance. When I've finished, then you can rise. So if there is any honorable member who cannot whisper, please step outside, go and talk, and then come back and join us so that we concentrate and listen to what the Honorable Minister is stating. Before the Honorable Minister comes on the floor to continue, the Honorable Member for Lunte has indicated to raise a point of order. What is the point of order, Honorable Member?
Madam Speaker, Honorable Bino Mpondo has shocked me. He has shocked me.
Honorable who?
Bino Mpondo, this one. Madam Speaker, I know that it is human to forget, but not just when guidance has been given. Madam, just in this same meeting, you told him, this one, that hold your fire, there's going to be a ministerial statement. Madam, there is no ministerial statement. The minister now is responding to a question and is calmly seated when you guided. Is he in order? Is he in order, madam, to be this calm, seated, without indicating that you actually ordered him to sit down because there is a ministerial statement? I seek your serious
The honorable member for Lunti. That's the problem of not listening or paying attention to the guidance that is given. I did not say that the ministerial statement is coming on the floor today. I did not say that. I advise that a ministerial statement is going to be issued. I didn't say today. So you missed out. You didn't hear me properly. Or maybe you came in late. Yeah. So let's continue with the business. The ministerial statement is not today, but it's definitely coming. I know that because I've been informed. That's why I'm informing you, so that you keep informed. The Honorable Minister may come on the floor, Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think I just have to start all over again. 3 questions. A, whether the government is aware that the following sections of the Katansha Twingi Road in Bangweru parliamentary constituency have been washed away, thereby cutting off communities and disrupting access to essential public services. 1, Chinsanka, Miloke, and 2, Bulongwa to Chinsanka. Question B, if so, when the road will be repaired to restore connectivity and ensure access to essential public services. And C, whether the government will consider creating a temporary detour while awaiting the repair of the road to ensure connectivity. Madam Speaker, the answer to question A is the government is aware that the Chinsanka Miloke and Bulongwa Chinsanka sections of the Katansha Twingi Road in Bangweru parliamentary constituency have been affected by heavy rains, disrupting access to public services. Answer to question B, the government through the Road Development Agency will undertake repair works once funds are made available and the rains subside. C, the government through the Road Development Agency will undertake remedial works, including a possible detour, in order to maintain connectivity and improve passability. Madam Speaker, please allow me to just give more additional information so that the Honourable Member of Parliament can be clear with what government is planning to do. The government is fully aware that sections of the Katansha to Twingi Road in Bangweru parliamentary constituency gets flooded in the rainy season, leading to poor conditions of road sections which traverse low-lying areas. The Road Development Agency has been undertaking repair works on the road under force account since 2020. Implementation progressed intermittently based on timing and availability of the funds, and up to September 2024, when the allocated budget amounting to 13,816,000 was exhausted. During this period, a cumulative total of 35 kilometers was re-gravelled, while heavy grading was carried out over 66 kilometers. In addition, 8 concrete pipe culverts were installed to improve drainage and road resilience. The Road Development Agency Regional Office has undertaken technical assessments of affected sections Additional road sections requiring urgent interventions have also been identified. A budget for the works has been finalized and await funding. The Chinsanka-Miloke and Chinsanka-Bulongwa sections have been incorporated in the planned works to ensure a comprehensive intervention to the challenge posed by the poor state of the road. The scope of works includes spot improvements and regraveling, installation of drainage structures, as well as clearing and grubbing to restore and maintain access. The estimated cost for the proposed works is Zambian kwacha 23 million kwacha, to be funded under the approved 2026 road sector annual work plan. The project has an estimated duration of 6 months once commenced. I submit.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Bangweulu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, these are the same stories that the people of Bangweulu have been receiving from the ministry. As you may be aware, this is the same minister, Madam Speaker, in November 2024, who came to this house and made the commitment that the road was going to be completed by 31st of December 2024. And from that time, nothing has been done. That's why now we see the road being affected in the manner it is. He has informed the House that they have been repairing the road. Honorable Madam Speaker, truth be told, the stretch that I'm talking about from Hulongwa, Chinsanka, Miroke going to Twingi has never been maintained since 2021. So, and then following the answer that he has given, it appears they have no immediate solution to deal with this matter. Because the same RDA that is referring to have no capacity to do the road, and they have failed to help us in the past. So, Honorable Minister, what assurance are you giving to the people of Bangweulu that this time around, the commitment you have made will come to fruition, because you have told us in the past that we'll do the road up to 31st December 2024, which you never did. Any assurance to the people of Bangweulu now that the connectivity has been affected? In the meantime, what is the immediate action you are going to take as of yesterday? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Acting Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the information that is at hand is that the RDA has already carried out technical assessment on the affected sections, and that the works have already been costed, and the money already included in this year's budget. This is a question of making the money available, and works will commence. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I know that this government is fond of promising without fulfilling it. In Solwezi, there was a groundbreaking where they went and told the people of Solwezi that there will be a hospital.
Honorable Member for Nakonde. Order. Please, honorable members, as we are asking questions, let's stick to the question that is on the floor of the House. Let's not bring in other issues. We have a lot of work on the order paper, and I would want to conclude it within the time that is allocated. May the honorable member for Nakonde ask a question relating to the
Madam
question
Speaker,
number 233.
Madam Speaker, these are real issues that we are talking about, because in Muchinga, we are told that we are going to have, township roads. Nothing has ever happened.
Honorable member
Today,
for Nakonde, you've been guided. Please, let's follow guidance. Let's follow guidance. Please ask the question, supplementary question, arising from what the Honorable Minister was stating.
Madam Speaker, we need to give references. You know, sometimes it's not just asking a question. We
Honorable
need,
Member for Nakonde, I've guided. Please do not start varying the guidance that I've given. I've guided you. If you have no question, can we give an opportunity to the owner of the question so that he can ask a question?
Madam Speaker, the question is there. We want to find out if there is any urgent measure that the government is going to take so that the people of Bangweulu can have this road repaired. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've already stated that works on these sections of the road will be attended to as soon as the rains subside. So immediately the rains are over, we should be able to instruct RDA to go and reassess so that we can have actual and accurate costing on the project, and the works will commence. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bangweulu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, once again. Madam Speaker, is there a way to make the people that provide raw information to the minister to account? Because he's informing this House that there's something that has been done from the time I raised the matter. The truth of the matter is the information that the minister is giving is not factual, is erroneous, and it's not true. So, and he's also telling us that until the rains finishes, people are not accessing essential services. Since I have no confidence anymore in the answers that the minister is giving me, let me just try to give him a benefit of the doubt. Minister, in the meantime, like of yesterday, what is it that you are going to do so that people can access the services that are more critical to be acquired? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, this is a question of not trying to be reasonable or being reasonable. Everybody is aware that this year we have received unprecedented rainfall. Most of the construction projects are on hold. So until such a time that the weather is favorable to start these works will commence, I submit.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, can we make progress? The next question. Question for oral answer under Standing Order 80. The Honorable Member for Chirubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, question 234, Madam Speaker.
Thank
sorry.
you. Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Mulenga Fouve asked the following questions. A, what the number of toll gates was countrywide as of August 2025. B, how much revenue on average is collected from each toll gate per month? And C, what the revenue collected is used for. The responses are as follows. Madam Speaker, the number of operational toll points countrywide as of August 2025 is 50, comprising the following. 26 are inland toll stations operated by the National Road Fund Agency. 5 are also inland toll stations operated by the concessionaires, and 19 are ports of entry stations operated by the Zambia Revenue Authority.
Sorry, Honorable Minister, if you can raise your voice a bit. Please, can we also tone down on the talking? I'm straining to hear what the Honorable Minister is saying. Thank you.
Okay, I'll repeat. The number of operational toll points countrywide as of August 2025 is 50, broken down as follows. 26 inland toll stations operated by the National Road Fund Agency. 5 are inland toll stations operated by concessionaires, and 19 are ports of entry operated by the Zambia Revenue Authority. Under B, Madam Speaker, as of November 2025, on average, 337 million kwacha is collected monthly from the 26 inland toll stations and 19 ports of entries, broken down as follows: 150 million per month, 150 million from the 26 inland toll stations and 187 million from the 19 ports of entry. And continuing, Madam Speaker, the average monthly revenue collections from the inland toll gates range from 178,737 kwacha. I repeat, 178,737 kwacha at Tapo toll gate, which being the lowest, to 27.3 million kwacha at the Michael Chufya Sata toll gate. For the ports of entry, the average monthly revenue collections range from 42 kwacha at Luangwa to 121.6 million at Nakonde. Madam Speaker, the House may wish to note that revenue collected from road tolls forms part of the basket of funds for the road sector. The funds are used for the construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of roads in line with the Tolls Act number 13 of 2011. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chilubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Though I struggled to get the total number, the Minister would forgive me on the total numbers. At first, I couldn't get whether he said 50, then he had to break down on the same. But I wanted to find out. The Minister was talking about November data, if I got him right.
Sorry, Honorable Member for Chilubi, there is an indication. I thought you would ask quickly, then I'll go to the point of order. Just a moment, there's an indication from the Honorable Member for Kapirimpochi. What's the point of order, Honorable Member?
Madam Speaker, my point of order is raised on the Minister of Lusaka Province. The last few minutes, Madam Speaker, I've consulted widely on the right and we have all come to the same conclusion. Is the MP for Rufunsa, Madam Speaker, in order to impersonate you, if you take Madam Speaker, from where you are, if you look at her jacket, it's exactly like yours. Madam Speaker, from where I am, even her shirt is exactly like yours, Madam Speaker. And from where I am, it appears she's wearing the exact same wig that you are wearing, Madam Speaker. I seek your serious ruling. Is she in order? Madam Speaker, this is premised on 3 standing orders. That's why it is serious. 216, 217, and 218. All these 3 refer to the dress code of members of parliament here, the dress code of the presiding officer, and all your assistants here, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Order, honorable members. The honorable minister for Lusaka province is my sister. That's why you see the resemblance. So it's nice to have a twin sister in the house so that they don't know. When an enemy comes, they won't know who is the presiding officer and who is the Lusaka province. So she's in order. Thank you. So the honorable member for Chilubi may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was trying to say that maybe the minister may forgive me if I didn't pick the figures rightly, especially at first when he talked about the total number of those inland and all that. I didn't pick that properly. He can guide me on that one. But my interest is that he talked about November. This being informed as November statistics. Before November, Madam Speaker, after 30th December, there was an increment for a particular category of trucks. Of course, there was some secretion where they said that there is withdrawal of that particular statement. But, Madam Speaker, I would like to attest, since this is a house of evidence, is that I used a truck on 30th December. I paid a 50 kwacha. I used the same truck on 1st January. I paid a 200 kwacha. Now, the question is that do those averages you calculated include the 300+% increment of the trucks in a particular category?
Can we get to the question? Because in the process you are losing us. Can we get to the specific question, Honorable Member for Chilubi?
Madam Speaker, I've asked the question. I've
yes,
said,
ask the question so that we get the question.
Yes, I've asked the question. I've said, having given that background, do those averages he has talked about include the increment that was effected on 1st January? Because he talked about figures. And the increment that was effected on January, to some of the category of certain trucks, is 300% plus. I think he can agree with me. Which was said it was fake, it was withdrawn, but actual people are paying that amount. So I wanted to learn from the minister whether those averages, since he said November, whether they include that particular capture of from January to date.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The numbers or the figures are provided were as of November 2025. If I understand the Honorable correctly, he's talking about fees effected in January 2026. It follows, therefore, Madam Speaker, that what he's talking about is not included in the numbers that are presented. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member from Nkana.
Honorable Minister, you have clearly indicated which toll facilities are being managed by NRFA and those that are being managed by the concessionaire. I took an interest in the number of toll facilities being managed by the concessionaire. I am aware of 4 that justifiably so are being managed by the concessionaire on the Ndola Lusaka dual carriageway, even though we have argued that it was erroneously given when the contractor has not yet completed the project. I have taken an interest in the Michael Chirufia Sata toll plaza. I am aware that as of last year, you included that toll facility to be handled by the consortium Micro Ocean. Is there any justification as to why a toll facility that is far away from a PPP project has been given to a concessionaire when they have got nothing to do with that toll plaza? I seek your indulgence on that matter.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The justification is certainly there because we needed to harmonize the tariff rates between the Luanshya to, what's the name of that place? Masangano? And the other one going from Luanshya to Ndola. So the issue is that if the tariffs on the microchirurgia were not adjusted, then obviously what would happen is that the Luanshya to Masangano would be a white elephant because people would be tending to bypass it. So, Madam Speaker, so the adjustment was made to make sure that you do not divert traffic. But in any case, Madam Speaker, microchirurgia port is not being managed by the concessionaire. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chilubi. Honorable members, we should pay attention. We have a lot of business on the order paper. When the question is asked, honorable members are supposed to pay attention so that we don't keep on repeating ourselves. So, Honorable Member Fonkana, if you were listening, the Honorable Minister, what I understood was that the Chirofia Sata Toll Plaza is not being managed by a concessionaire. That was the answer. Why? Can we make progress? Honorable Member for Chilubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Minister stated that the money that is being regrouped from the toll gates is brought back to maintaining the roads and all that. What is the arrangement with the Ndola dual carriageway if the structure of expenditure for the toll gates is that the money should be brought back? We have been told about the particular cost of the dual carriageway. Now, if the structure is that they have to plow back the money, we have been told that the concessionaire has to collect the money for so much time or for so much a period. Now, what is the structure that have they rearranged, or they are still considering the same conditions for those targets that the concessionaire is managing, or there is still this period that they were given by the concessionaire? And how do they regroup the increments that are coming up to 300%?
I hope the question is clear. I can see the Honorable Minister. I did not get the question.
Okay,
Please, can you simplify the question?
The Minister said that, no, are you the one who is asking the question? Can we respect each other? So, the Minister said that the money that is corrected through the targets is taken back into the maintenance of the same road. Okay, let me just say the road sector generally. And then we have some roads, the Ndola dual carriageway, which is being managed by a concessionaire. And given that status, how is the arrangement about that road? Because there are increments that are coming in, and there's that 23 years, I don't know if it's 23 years. How is that being managed for that particular road and for the targets that are in the dual carriageway? How is that managed under the same arrangement?
I hope it's clear. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Let me try and see if I can clarify matters without perhaps necessarily answering verbatim to what you said, I want to clarify matters by giving the principles that are being applied. So the principles that are being applied here is that when you concession a road, and remember, the expense is quite large, payable over a longer period of time, it is necessary to lengthen the period of payment, because if you shorten the period too much, it means that the motorists will be paying huge amounts of money. But if you ask the motorists pay for this road over a longer period of time, it means that the payment that we make each time we drive on that road will be lower. I think that's the first principle. The second principle is that when the road is concessioned and they collect the toll fees, indeed, those toll fees are part of the financing for the road sector. To do what? Number one, to pay for the loans obtained in constructing these roads. This is no different from what happens when the government borrows money to construct a road. The budget provides for money to pay back the loans. But in this particular case, the one who pays back the loan is not the government, so government is free of that debt. But we must provide in the concession agreement for the concessionaire to be able to put aside some money to pay back that loan. So it is legitimate to say that the payment back of the loans is part of the financing for the road sector. That's number one. Number two, maintenance of the roads. Obviously, the roads must be maintained, because now and then there may be some damages, or there may be some preemptive work conducted to stop serious damage. So that part of the money is also designated towards the road sector. Three, so those two components that I've mentioned are obviously monies that is collected from the tolls that goes directly into the road sector. Obviously, there's another portion that goes to rewards. In other words, part of that is the money that the concessionaire collects in forms of profits, if you want. Part of that money is what the concessionaire uses to pay the government its share of the revenue. Because in all these roads, the government also collects a share of the revenues. The second thing, in terms of distribution, these concessionaires, they pay taxes. So from the money that is collected, part of that is what is paid to the government in forms of various taxes. I hope I've clarified in terms of how the money is used, because your question was not quite clear. So I thought that I should explain how the money under the concessions under PPP is utilized. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Luena.
Madam Speaker, in responding to the Honorable Member for Chilubi's question, the Minister has responded to my question, which was going to be on the revenue sharing pattern. Thank you.
Okay, so we need to make progress. The last one will be Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm very lucky. Madam Speaker, the other question, the Minister has already responded, but Minister, allow me, Madam Speaker, to relay this information to the Minister. Minister, you understand how much money you are spending on road maintenance, and it's quite expensive. From your explanation, you've said some certain amount of money goes to road maintenances, and even from the concessionaire arrangement we have on PP. Now, the level of investment on maintenance, Minister, it is pathetic, to say the truth. If you check, I'll give a practical example of Great East Road today. Madam Speaker, we're going to have a disaster in Great East Road, not the disaster you've seen in Chingola Sorwez Road, Chingola Kasumbalesa. Not that I haven't reported to the necessary authorities. After the RD Eastern Province, Lenamo, we are building a dam where they're not supposed to be a dam because of a broken drainage. Because people are so scared to go and broke that thing that is where it's a den of lions. It's not. And you have trained personnel. If you ask Honorable Skumba there, it's called trained personnel who can fish out those lions if they are there. Madam Speaker, the disaster which is going to happen at Lenamo Hill, it's going to be too much for this country. Minister, I pray that let's avoid to waste more money, send the team tomorrow, and then block that drainage. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I don't know if the Honorable Minister got the question. I didn't get it. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think that was a suggestion, an appeal, rather than a question, which of course I've taken note of. But maybe I can also take advantage to explain the issue of maintenance. The advantage of the PPP model, these roads that we concession, is that for the entire period when the road is under concession, the government is not going to put aside money to maintain the road. That responsibility lies squarely on the concessionaire. So this is why it is attractive, because on one hand, we collect a share of the revenues. We collect taxes. But when it comes to maintenance and repairs, the government has no role in that. So this is why it is an attractive mode of financing the roads. But otherwise, the suggestion or appeal made by the Honorable, I've taken note, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can make progress. Questions? Next question, the Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 235.
Thank you, the Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Chinsali asks the Ministry of Health at A, whether the government has any capacity building programs for health workers in Chinsali district. At B, if so, what the programs are. And at C, if there are no such programs, why? Madam Speaker, the responses are as follows. At A, yes, the government has capacity building programs for health workers in Chinsali district. Capacity building and mentorship for health workers are essential strategies to strengthen healthcare systems, especially in resource-limited settings. Regular capacity building programs ensure health workers stay updated on evolving medical guidelines. These programs are for all health workers across the country, especially in resource-constrained settings. These include short-term and long-term programs. At B, if so, what these programs are. The capacity building programs include the following. That is 1, emergency obstetric and newborn care. Training on the management of obstetric emergencies such as postpartum, hemorrhage, pre-eclampsia, and other maternal complications. 2, referral system strengthening, mentorship on the use of the National Referral Guidelines to ensure timely and appropriate referral of patients. 3, newborn resuscitation, training to prevent neonatal deaths due to births asphyxia through effective newborn resuscitation. 4, ambulance and emergency equipment use. Mentorship on the use of advanced life-saving equipment installed in ambulances. 5, triage and emergency case management. Mentorship on triaging of cases to avoid delays in attending to emergencies. Number 6, growth monitoring and nutrition surveillance. Mentorship on growth monitoring of children in the community to identify and prevent malnutrition. 7, Help Mothers Survive program. Mentorship in reproductive, maternal, and newborn healthcare interventions. 8, Early infant diagnosis. Mentorship on early diagnosis of HIV/AIDS in infants and appropriate follow-ups. 9, Health management information systems. Training in data collection, management, analysis, and use of decision-making. 10, Infant and young child feeding. Mentorship on optimal feeding practices for infants and young children. 11, kangaroo mother care. Mentorship on the use of kangaroo mother care for preterm and low birth weight babies. 12, emergency preparedness and response training, which equips health workers and communities with the knowledge, skills, and systems needed to effectively manage crises such as disease outbreaks, natural disasters, and mass casualty events. 13, community gatekeeper mentorship. This is a community mentorship of safe motherhood action groups on identification of high-risk pregnancies and timely referral to health facilities. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, I would like to find out how often are these capacity building programs provided to our health workers in Chinsali? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, just like I indicated in my response that these programs are routine, Madam Speaker, in Chinsali, just like across the country. So as and when there is a requirement to capacitate or recapacitate health workers, such programs are undertaken. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, a follow-up question to the Acting Minister of Health. Minister, you've listed quite a number of programs that have been undertaken to raise the capacity of our health workers in Chinsali. Very complicated, some of them are very complicated medical programs. Minister, are you able to tell the nation, just out of those 10 or 15 programs you've listed, when was the last time one of those was actually conducted? Are you able to confirm that 3 weeks ago or 2 months ago, this group of health workers, Madam Speaker, actually went through this training? Because that is what the Honorable Member of Chinsali is interested in, to know if the workers' capacity is going up, if they're able to handle these cases far much better. So are you able to confirm from your report, Minister, when one of those was actually undertaken? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, I have answered that question already in part in indicating that these are routine programs, and therefore to make it issue specific, I should have required me, Madam Speaker, to have endeavored to have such a pinpoint answer to a question of that nature. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Minister, in his response, he stated that these capacity building programs are routine and are implemented as and when training is required. Now, when you look at the phraseology of that response, you'll find that there is a contradiction, because if someone says as and when training is required, that doesn't make it routine. Routine basically means it's something that we do every 6 months or every 18 months. So I would just like the minister to reconcile that position. Is it as and when training is required, or it is routine? Because it can only be either. It can't be both. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, thank you. If the Honorable Member was listening carefully, I said these are routine programs that take place as and when capacity building is required or recapacitation that deals with your concern. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Grouped questions for oral answer under Standing Order 83. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 236 and 237. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I have permitted the Honorable Acting Minister of Health to respond to questions 236 and 237 as grouped questions. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament, Honorable Mkosa MP Chinsali, asks the following question. A, how many community health assistants there were in Chinsali district as of August 2025? B, of these, how many were on the government payroll? C, what support the government renders to the health assistants who are not on the payroll? D, whether the health assistants who are not on the payroll are given preference during recruitment. And E, if preference is not given to the health assistants at D, why? The responses, Madam Speaker, at A, as at August 2025, there were 23 community health assistants in Chinsali district. B, Madam Speaker, 12 were on the government payroll as at August 2025. Madam Speaker, allow me to mention that positions of community health assistants are held at the health post, of which Chinsali district has 9, making the positions thus to be 18. C, Madam Speaker, community health assistants who are not on the government payroll are regarded as volunteers who do not get a stipend or salary. However, they participate in capacity building programs and mentorship sessions and any other aids to facilitate their work in the community. D, Madam Speaker, community health assistants who are not on the payroll are encouraged to apply and are considered during recruitment exercise in accordance with applicable recruitment guidelines and in many cases, Madam Speaker, given preference. Madam Speaker, recruitment of health assistants is subject to prevailing recruitment guidelines. Question number 237, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Chinsali asks at A, how many of the following were at Chinsali General Hospital as of September 2025? 1, health workers, and 2, staff houses. B, whether the government has any plans to build additional staff houses for the health workers. C, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and D, if there are no such plans, why? The response is, Madam Speaker, as follows. 1, as of September 2025, Chinsali General Hospital had a total of 196 health workers in post. 2, Madam Speaker, as of September 2025, Chinsali General Hospital had 15 staff houses available for institutional accommodation. B, Madam Speaker, government has plans for additional housing at Chinsali General Hospital. I wish to inform this House
that the government is fully aware of the accommodation challenges faced by staff at Chinsali General Hospital, which is situated approximately 25 kilometers from the central business district. In line with the conditions of service, employees are entitled to both transport and housing allowances, which are duly reflected in their pay slips. Furthermore, government, through the Ministry of Health, is actively engaging the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, as well as the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, including urging the hard-working Member of Parliament for Chinsali to consider using CDF also to supplement the efforts of government, just like it is done elsewhere. And it is government's sincere belief that the hard-working Member of Parliament for Chinsali will be part of the solution to the challenges obtaining at this institution. Madam Speaker, it is hoped that the plans will be implemented in the year of the Lord 2027. D, Madam Speaker, government has plans, therefore, D falls out. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the responses that you have provided to the questions. I would like to find out, Honorable Minister, on the 12 volunteers in Chinsali who are not on payroll, who are not given any stipend or any form of reward or remuneration or consideration. I know you've stated that sometimes they are given preference when it comes to recruitment, when the government is recruiting, but during this time when they are working, these are people, Honorable Minister, that some of them have been working to provide health support to our health system in Chinsali and Zambia. Some of them for over 5 years, but they have not been recruited and they have just been volunteering. That means basically leaving everything else that they have to do to help our people. Is there any possibility that, Honorable Minister, these hard-working volunteers can be considered in terms of maybe a stipend or some form of allowance just to give them a consideration for the good work that they have been doing? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chinsali for that follow-up question. And just to put the statistics correct, it is actually 12 who are on payroll and not on payroll. So, I cannot commit here that government will put them on a particular allowance, save for me to indicate here that as the practice is, those who have been volunteering are actually given preference when it is time for recruitments. And I think this also is not just what I'm stating. You recall that the President gave a presidential directive in and out of this House to give preference to those who volunteer, particularly as a case in issue during COVID. So I think going forward, we need this interaction where when you have people who have worked like for 5 years, you don't wait to bring a question here. You come to the ministry, we talk, so that maybe we can give them some kind of preference so that the government is seen to appreciate the good work that those people have put in place. That is why you're a member of Parliament, to represent such people. I know you are working very hard. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, the issue that has been raised by the Honorable Member of Parliament for the people of Chinsali is not just peculiar to Chinsali. I think most constituencies have got health facilities where we've got volunteers. And Madam Speaker, I want to find out from the Minister from the Acting Minister of Health. Minister, you've said a lot of things, and people there want to pick what you are saying. Is it government policy, Madam Speaker, that when you volunteer at a health facility, you will be given first priority when an opportunity presents itself for employment to be undertaken by government? Madam Speaker, this policy pronouncement has to be made very clear, because we all have health workers who are volunteering, Madam Speaker. Zamtan Clinic, Ndeke Village Clinic, Mulenga Clinic, we've got volunteers. So hearing from what the minister is saying, I want the minister to be very clear so that we know how to manage this information to the people that are listening. Volunteers, first priority on recruitment, so that this forthcoming recruitment, Madam Speaker, our volunteers can prepare their papers for preparation for employment. Acting Minister of Health. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Before the Honorable Acting Minister comes to answer that question, Honorable members, the quorum has dropped. Please, can you ring the bell? I'm sure some people are enjoying some tea out there. Can you check on them? Others are in committees, but we can't transact business if we don't have the quorum.
Station phase 1 completed, awaiting phase 2, but we've not seen where the phase 1.
Parliament must be present in the House for any business to transact. And so once the quorum has been formed, we expect the business of the House to resume. And the House is considering a grouped question for oral answer under Standing Order 83. This is question 236 and 237. These are two questions for grouped questions for oral answer under Standing Order 83, questions that have come from Chinsali, Member of Parliament, Mr. Kalalwe Mukosa, and these questions have been directed to the Minister of Health, and the Minister has already responded to both questions, and members of Parliament.
Thank you very much. We resume business. So the Honorable, you can now answer the question. I'm sure you will still remember.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament, Honorable Kangombe, for Kamfinsa, has extended the application of this question to beyond its initial precincts. But I shall proceed to answer it, Madam Speaker, because what we are talking about is a presidential directive that was given even on the floor of the House. So there is no secret about it, save to indicate that the new Dawn administration of President Hakainde Hichilema, ably led by President Hakainde Hichilema, the policy on employment is meritocracy-based. That is to say, qualification and connection speaks for you. And that is why we brought new mechanisms of employment, such as to use, a database right now when you want to employ health workers. Madam Speaker, in just 4.5 years of President Hakainde Hichilema, Madam Speaker, New Dawn administration using this meritocracy-based employment approach has employed 18,305 health workers. So unprecedented. So that is the core policy of employment, to use merit, to use qualification. But the president has given guidance that those who have been volunteering must be considered or given preference, so that these two will inform the employment criteria. So, The policy is to employ based on qualification. But the president has added a directive which translates in effect into a policy. And that is why I've said those who have been volunteering, and this is a practice actually even now, it's already in practice. Those who have been volunteering, they get recommendations from their supervisors, from their PhDs or DHDs for them to be considered. So I think that it is work in progress. It is already underway in terms of application. Perhaps what we should be saying now is that as the economy grows, there will be more people employed, because the problem which is there is not volunteering for many years. The problem is that we had an administration that was not employing. That is where the problem is. Imagine that in the 10 years prior to 2021, every 5 years you are employing. Like now, by the end of 5 years, the first 5 years of President HH will have employed not less than 20,000, because we are already at above 18,000. Every 5 years, 20,000. We will not have people volunteering for 5 years. But we have a terrible government, Madam Speaker. And that's why the people of Zambia made a change for good. And they will repeat that in the next few months on 13th August 2026. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. A point of order is raised. The Honorable Member for Lunte, what's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I rise on what I consider a serious point of order, because it relates to a government minister speaking on the floor of the House. Madam Speaker, the previous government, between 2016 and 2021, employed 24,000 health workers. Madam Speaker, I am aware that
Let's listen, honorable members.
Thank you so much for your protection, Madam Speaker. I am aware that the minister speaking on health matters is acting on administrative convenience. He may not have the facts. The MP who was Minister of Health still maintains his MPship in this House today. And I was privileged, Madam Speaker, to sit in a cabinet which employed 11,000 workers and another 8,000 workers, the total number of 24,000. Is the Honorable Minister in order to claim that the previous government never employed as much health workers as his government has done? He can consult Honorable Mtati is there. Honorable Mtati is aware. He was a minister in the previous government. Yeah. Madam Speaker, is he in order to mislead the nation that there was no employment of health workers? This is why they are having difficulties. I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
The honorable members, the honorable member for Lunte, you have raised so many questions, so many points of order, even alleging that one of the honorable ministers was a minister in the previous government. Yeah. Order, honorable members, you've debated, you have sufficiently debated your point of order. So I'm sure they've heard, and you have heard. So we make progress. The honorable member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you have indicated that the government does have plans to build houses for health workers in Chinsali. I would like to find out, Honorable Minister, how many houses is the government planning to build? I ask so because you have given me a challenge that I should collaborate with the government, that I should also build some houses using CDF, which I am not averse to. I think that is something that I'm willing to do, but I wouldn't want to duplicate the efforts of the government. So how many houses is the Ministry of Health planning to build for our health workers in Chinsali? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm acting minister, but competently so. Madam Speaker,
Honorable Member for Chienge, please. There was order, there was no debating while seated, but when you came in, you started. Please restrain yourself. May the Honorable Minister continue.
Madam Speaker, the word I'm using, competent, is not ability, because I know that a person like Bino Mbundo, that's what he's thinking. I'm talking about being illegally working there. That's what I'm talking about. Him was talking about something else. Because you are heckling.
Order.
Madam Speaker, let me respond.
Order, Honorable Minister, please. Honorable Member for Chienge, please, that kind of conduct is not acceptable in the House. You moved from your chair and bowed and I started shouting there while you were bowing. That is not acceptable. May the Honorable Minister continue.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Chinsali, Madam Speaker, has a question to say. Since government has intimated to the effect that it intends to build houses, how many houses? Madam Speaker, building staff houses is on the basis of the need. So that is what the answer is. It's on the basis of the need, and the need is ever growing, just like you are seeing that the government continues to recruit more health workers. It means at every stage, the number of houses will be a moving target, but we are working towards, having to respond to that particular challenge, Madam Speaker, because we are continuing to employ. Madam Speaker, allow me also that on this floor of the House, Madam Speaker, I have been here myself for 14 years now, 15. Madam Speaker, the previous government sustained an employment freeze for not less than 3 to 4 years ahead of the 2021 presidential and general elections. Where did they find time to employ so many people? Because when you stand here to say something which is not true just for people to hear, it's not right. Madam Speaker, the day I will be in the opposition, and you know that I was part and parcel of the people who damaged the country, you will not see me here stand and try to show that I'm clever when I didn't show my cleverness when I was in government. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member. So what will be the point of order now, Honorable Member for Lunta?
Madam Speaker, my point of order would be that if the Honorable Minister has the courage to counter data provided on the floor of the House, he must bring statistics. Madam Speaker, it's irrelevant for the Minister to be talking about the sustenance of employment freeze and failing to indicate the number of health workers that the previous government employed. I challenge him. It was 24,000, Madam Speaker, because in that period, I was a minister. Madam Speaker, is it in order to just fail to provide data as it is existing in his ministry? Instead, he comes here to begin to politic over factual data. I think you're serious with Madam Speaker.
He's on probation.
Honorable members, what I see here is arguments attacking each other subtly. So our business is to transact the business on the order paper, so you can continue your arguments when you go outside to see who did what and who is not doing what. In the meantime, business continues. The Honorable Member for Chawama.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Muchinga province to me, Madam Speaker, is a special case. Knowing fully well that it's the newest province in the country. And I happen to have served in that province for 3 years plus. And I know pretty well the deficiencies of that particular province. Madam Speaker, I want to ask the Minister, the Acting Minister of Health, what sort of premium and of course significance, coupled with importance, attached to that very important province in terms of development, knowing fully well that he is also in charge to speak of everything that is across the board in terms of ministries. I have been watching the MP for Chinsali Central Constituency lamenting nearly every single day. First, he spoke about the security wings in terms of infrastructure. He spoke about the Zanis vehicles and, of course, employment. Now the lamentation is about the Minister of Health. Madam Speaker, the Chinsali General Hospital is a masterpiece for the nation. It's a marvel, spectacular infrastructure. But in the absence of having sufficient members of staff to operate in that hospital gives a very sad reading. I want to ask the Acting Minister of Health, do you have deliberate programs from Chinga province, and particularly Chinsali being the newest province in the country, and Chinsali being the provincial headquarters? Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chawama, the newest in the House, for that question. Someone is saying he's the last born. And Madam Speaker, to that effect, I will indicate to him that that question he has asked has already been answered competently by myself. I urge him to be paying attention when a minister is giving answers. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And Minister, thank you very much for the responses. This is just some kind of an appeal, Minister. You have talked about the recruitment of more health workers as the economy grows. I'm of the view that medical professionals who are trained at a high cost, when they stay for 2-3 years without practicing, they tend to lose the skill. And this is evidenced by the fact that you have noticed many times in the hospital, even in nurses, trying to just insert a cannula. They will prick the body everywhere. Why? Because they are losing the skill with time. What is your plan in making sure that medical professionals who are trained at high cost do not stay too long without getting employed in order for them to enhance their skill? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and to thank the Honorable Dr. Katakwe for that particular question. Madam Speaker, in the earlier submission of response I gave, we did encourage that for the health workers, particularly doctors and nurses, to remain abreast and, afloat with their skills. They are encouraged to volunteer. But then the end game is employment. But like the President has indicated here, as the economy grows, so is it that we shall employ more and more doctors, more and more nurses. And I know that this challenge is not just restricted to the health sector. It is across board, but the health sector, Madam Speaker, are a special trained cadre of citizens who need to have, cutting-edge expertise, functional at all times. So, Dr. Katakwe, we hear you, and that is why you see President HH working round the clock to resuscitate and stabilize the economy of this country so that more and more health workers can be employed. Madam Speaker, with your greatest indulgence, allow me now, Madam Speaker, to give statistics to the nation of employment. Madam Speaker, up to 2021, Madam Speaker, the records held at the Ministry of Health, 14,389. And this cuts across doctors, nurses, and all other, support staff. So, it is erroneous to come and abuse the floor of this house, to brandish with carte blanche audacity numbers that don't exist in a quest to mislead people. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Private member's motion. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa. Honorable Member for Kamfinsa, what happens?
Yes, let's go to the bathroom. I have a pencil. Yes, just.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House urges government to review and strengthen legal and administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in Zambia.
Is the motion seconded?
Yes, seconded, Madam Speaker.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Chama North. The question is that this House urges the government to review and strengthen legal administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in Zambia. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, I want to begin by thanking the people of Kamfinsa constituency for the opportunity accorded to me to be their Member of Parliament, because through this privilege, Madam Speaker, I have today presented a very important motion that affects many people out there, Madam Speaker. And this issue is something that has been exercising the minds of many members of the public, Madam Speaker, people that I have interacted with, people that I have seen discussing this matter, views that I've heard from people, Madam Speaker, is that we urgently need to address this problem, Madam Speaker. Now, what problem am I raising today that requires us to have this conversation? Madam Speaker, it is the issue of access to land by foreign nationals in Zambia. The outcry out there, Madam Speaker, is that the pieces of land that are being allocated to foreign nationals, unfortunately, Madam Speaker, there's a public outcry that we need to review the current legal and administrative frameworks that govern how land administration is done for people that are called foreign nationals. Madam Speaker, the laws of Zambia currently allow for foreigners to own land, and there are various ways through which land can be acquired by foreign nationals. For instance, Madam Speaker, we are aware that at the Ministry of Commerce, we have an institution called the Zambia Development Agency, which normally issues what is called an investment license. You get your investment license, Madam Speaker, you are a foreigner, and then you go to any government entity that issues land. Madam Speaker, land can be given to you as a foreign national, provided you have an investment license. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, some of the foreign investors that have been using that avenue to acquire land are not honoring the investment pledge, Madam Speaker. The investment pledge was that $250,000 will be invested through that investment license. And what has been happening, Madam Speaker, which is now the public outcry, is that foreign nationals will come under the pretext of an investor, Madam Speaker, acquire pieces of land in huge quantities without doing what they promised to do. And in the end, Madam Speaker, we've had foreign nationals who have ended up subdividing land, which is then sold to the very Zambians who in the first place we should have given that piece of land. So in terms of that first criteria, Madam Speaker, my submission is that if an investor comes into Zambia on the pretext that they will invest money, my submission is that if they fail to honor that investment pledge, that piece of land, Madam Speaker, should be surrendered back to the state and offered to the people of Zambia. Because why should an investor make a pledge that they'll come and set up a mining company or come and set up a farm block which is highly mechanized, Madam Speaker, and in the end they don't actually do that investment? So my first submission is that we need to review the law. We need to review the administrative framework, Madam Speaker, to ensure that those who don't honor their investment pledge, Madam Speaker, that land should be surrendered back to the people of Zambia. The second avenue through which foreigners acquire land, Madam Speaker, is through incorporating a company at PACRA. A foreigner comes into Zambia, Madam Speaker, they incorporate a company. The law says that 75% of the shares in that company should be owned by a Zambian if a foreigner is going to own 25% and eventually own that piece of land. Currently, Madam Speaker, foreigners will incorporate a company without even following what the law says. Instead of complying with the 75% shares, which should be given to a Zambian citizen in partnership with a foreigner. Madam Speaker, we've had foreign companies registered in Zambia going to Ministry of Lands, acquiring land, when the law says you should have 75% shares owned by a Zambian citizen. And our institutions have ended up, Madam Speaker, allocating that land to the foreign entities. My submission, Madam Speaker, is that we need to conduct an audit of all those foreign-owned institutions that have been able to acquire land without following what the procedure states. The procedure, Madam Speaker, is very clear. A Zambian should own 75%, a foreigner should own 25%. Only then, Madam Speaker, can Ministry of Lands issue title to that piece of land. And my submission today, Madam Speaker, is that we need to revise the regulation. When a foreign entity registered in Zambia applies for that piece of land, we need to ensure that those regulations are very clear. The outcry, Madam Speaker, is that why should these foreigners have access to land which we can directly give to our own Zambian citizens? Why should the law be ignored? The law says 75% of the shares should be retained by a Zambian citizen. Madam Speaker, the third avenue through which a foreign entity can own land in Zambia is by having a cooperative that has got 75% members who are Zambians. We have cooperatives in Zambia, Madam Speaker, where foreigners are appearing, where their names are appearing, where they've even been able to go to traditional leaders to acquire land. They've been given huge chunks of land, Madam Speaker. And here I am, Madam Speaker, these are not my views that I'm expressing. The outcry from our people, Madam Speaker, is that when these cooperatives that are owned by foreigners, when these companies go to our traditional leadership, Madam Speaker, to ask for these huge pieces of land, we need to ask ourselves 2 or 3 very basic questions, Madam Speaker. Why should we offload these huge pieces of land, Madam Speaker, when we know some of these so-called investors, Madam Speaker, will not be able to honor their investment pledges? We know that they will not set up the farm blocks that they promised. And this is the submission coming from the citizens, Madam Speaker, that we need to ask ourselves, what is the problem? Is the problem the law, Madam Speaker? Let's review the law. If we think that the law is not sufficient, Madam Speaker, to ensure that our institutions, Ministry of Lands, local authorities, do not check who they are offloading land to, Madam Speaker, it means we need to change the law. If the problem are the administrative frameworks, Madam Speaker, if the administrative frameworks are very weak, if we know that foreigners have found a loophole through which they are acquiring land, Madam Speaker, This is today's conversation. Let's review the regulations. Let's review the legal framework. If it is the Lands Act that we need to amend, Madam Speaker, it is this Parliament now that needs to entrust that responsibility to various stakeholders. Call the traditional leaders, Madam Speaker. Call their Royal Highnesses. Call the local authority. Call the officers in Ministry of Lands, so that a conversation now takes place, so that when we have this opportunity as Parliament, Madam Speaker, our mandate is very simple. Let us review the regulations. Let us review the laws. Let us review the administrative frameworks, so that these complaints, Madam Speaker, which speak to our sovereignty, because, Madam Speaker, land is the identity that we have of our sovereignty as a country. And the people out there, Madam Speaker, as I wind up, the request coming from the people is that, yes, while the laws currently empower foreigners to come and own land, the submission from the people, Madam Speaker, is that can we review the law? Can we review the administrative frameworks to ensure that we do not lose so much land that we have lost as Zambian citizens at the expense of foreigners, Madam Speaker, that are not honoring their pledges when they acquire that land. Madam Speaker, due to limited time, I urge the August House to support the motion to review the legal and administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in Zambia. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for according me, on behalf of the people of Chama North, to second this motion, which has been brought to this August House by Honorable Christopher Kangombe, Member of Parliament for Kamfinsa constituency. Madam Speaker, I want to commend the Honorable Member of Parliament for coming up with this motion, which is non-controversial. Madam Speaker, the issue of land has been contentious from generations to generations. And in some instances, Madam Speaker, people have gone to war because of fighting for land. So looking at the current situation in our country, Madam Speaker, the Zambian population has been experiencing, it has been increasing tremendously, I think since 1969. By 2022, our country recorded a population of 20 million citizens. And in the next few years, the population is going to increase. So, Madam Speaker, with the unexpected increase in population, I think it is important that government must put certain safeguards to ensure that foreigners are restricted in terms of acquiring this land. We have customary land and also state lands. The state land is vested in the president. I think there's been a lot of concerns, even on customary land, where investors are getting large quantities of land, displacing our own people. So with that situation, there is need really that we have to review the legal framework to ensure that foreigners are restricted to acquire land. Madam Speaker, I know that currently there are legal provisions do exist, but these legal provisions, are they sufficient enough to ensure that we safeguard the interests of the Zambian people? I do not think so, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I want therefore to appeal to all members of this August House to ensure that this particular motion is supported in order to safeguard the interests of our people. we have seen a lot of our people have become squatters in their own country. A lot of foreigners are acquiring this land to disadvantage our people. So indeed, this motion has come at a right time when demand for land for both the local and foreign investors has been on the increase. Madam Speaker, currently we have fragmented institutional coordination between land administration authorities and the investment facilitation bodies, utilization of leased land where land is held for speculative purposes and productive development. With those remarks, Madam Speaker, I feel that this House should support this particular motion and ensure that legal framework is reviewed because you cannot, in other countries, you cannot own land. But here we have allowed a situation where our people are being displaced. So with those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I want to support this particular motion. I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've listened to the mover and the supporter of the motion. Now, can I use, I don't know if there's anybody who is opposing the motion? Somebody debating opposing the motion, or are we all in support? Okay, then let me just randomly, but then the debate will not be balanced. The Honorable Member for Kabata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity given to the good people of Kabata to add their voice on the motion that is before this House. Madam Speaker, first of all, we want to state that we support this motion. Number one, Madam Speaker, you and I understand, including everyone in the House, that God has actually stopped this business of creating more land. The land that we have now is our national heritage, and this is a land that our forefathers actually fought for. Madam Speaker, if you look at the issues of land, where we've seen many foreigners coming in our country, others, they come on the pretext of coming in as investors, they acquire their necessary documents, and at the end of the day, what they are interested in is to ensure that they secure that land. Like the MP for Kamfisa has ably said, I think these are issues that we need to start reviewing and see how best we can push for coordination between different ministries, like the Ministry of Lands and also the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, because the Zambia Development Agency, they are also there. Madam Speaker, also on the issue of, you find there are cooperatives that have been registered, and some of these cooperatives are huge cooperatives, and most of these cooperatives have been run by foreigners, and they have the power and the audacity to go and apply for lands. I think there is need for us to ensure that we put up some measures that will ensure that cooperatives or companies that have been formed with 25% of non-Zambians should not take advantage of the loopholes that we have in the law. Madam Speaker, also let me talk about the issue of traditional leaders. I think also we need to understand that whenever there is a need for one to apply for land from the traditional leaders and they want to convert that land into state ownership, I think there is need for everyone, every Zambian, to understand that traditional leaders play a critical role, thereby ensuring that a consent has to be signed by the traditional leaders. Most of the issues that we've seen, for instance, I'll give an example of what happened in Mlobezi, Madam Speaker, where a company just came and got almost 40,000 hectares of land. And there were a lot of issues that were raised, whether the chief has signed a consent to give order that that land should go to that company. And yet it was just an investor who came in. Madam Speaker, that's the reason why we need to ensure that there is coordination. We know what is happening even in different chiefdoms. Look at what has been happening, because land is our national heritage. Look at what has been happening, Madam Speaker, where you find chiefs are fighting for boundaries, because they understand the importance of land, Madam Speaker. Also, Madam Speaker, let me also talk about the challenges that are affecting this very process, Madam Speaker. If you see how the inadequacy of monitoring policy when it comes to land administration, those are issues that we need to start talking about and having a conversation towards the same. Let's look at also the issues of speculators. Most of the people that are actually coming in as investors, they go and they acquire some farming blocks for the sort of purpose of land speculation. They want to hold on to that land so that at a certain given time, when land has appreciated in value, then they'll dispose of. So let's ensure that we put up measures that will stop some of these land speculators from holding on to land. The other issue that I want to also talk about is the issue of encroachments, where we have seen some encroachments in forest, Madam Speaker. We have seen some encroachments in national parks. I think these are issues that should be brought to their attention and see how best we can deal with these issues. Madam Speaker, the issue of the legal framework, that is the most critical issue that needs to be addressed. Look at the Lands Act 184. I think that act needs to be reviewed, because for us to ensure that we put up effective and strengthening some of these the legal framework, we need to first by ensuring we start reviewing the Lands Act, because the Land Act, Madam Speaker, I strongly believe that it's old. I think it needs to answer to the modern changes of what is happening now. Madam Speaker, also, I want also to add my voice to say that I think we need to strengthen also the due diligence when it comes to processes of approvals. Because what is happening sometimes, Madam Speaker, you find that some of these processes are actually jumped. Some of these processes are not even followed. So we need to ensure that we strengthen some of these processes. Also, the need for digitization, Madam Speaker, computerizing the lands registry. There's absolutely no way you can have a registry that is still doing things manually. We need to start now improving on how best we can digitalize the lands registry. When we do that, it will be easier for us to know which parcel of land we have in this country. Is it for agriculture? Is it for residential? Is it a small holding? It will be far much easier, Madam Speaker, to manage our land. Also, the other issue, Madam Speaker, I want to raise is the issue of modernizing the land management system, Madam Speaker. I think there's also need to ensure that the land management system is also modernized. So the other issue I would want to mention, Madam Speaker, due to lack of time, is the establishment of the integration of land information system, Madam Speaker. Every time you go to the Ministry of Land, you hear, no, the system is not working. The system has actually shut down. I think there is absolute need for this integration to be handled with care, Madam Speaker, so that we do not have challenges when it comes to land information. People should easily have access to get whatever they want through the computer systems. People should even have access to get information on their phone. And I trust and believe that this is what is happening, but we need to strengthen some of these issues that have been raised, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when we do that, we ensure that transparency in terms of land allocation will be improved. When we do that, we ensure that, Madam Speaker, even the issue of having fraudulent titles that are flying around our country, these issues will be dealt with. I remember when we were dealing with the act that came before us as Agriculture Committee, we had a lot of submissions, Madam Speaker, from different stakeholders. We were concerned with the issues of titles that are actually coming up, fraudulently titles that have been obtained through the Ministry of Lands. Madam Speaker, I strongly feel that once we put up stringent measures that will deter some of these fraudulent activities that have been happening, Madam Speaker, will ensure that, Madam Speaker, that once the Minister of Lands follows some of these issues that we've raised, Madam Speaker, the ministry will be able to strengthen and ensure that most of the things that have been done illegally will be actually brought to an end. Madam Speaker, with these few words, allow me to support the motion. Thank you.
making sure every second is used. So I don't know, honorable members, can we do, is there a need for us to continue debating, speaking the same? So I'll call on the Honorable Minister of Lands to respond. Most of the time you are not even in the house. Well, tomorrow, if you are here, you'll be given the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to respond to the private member's motion regarding the review and strengthen legal and administrative framework governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in Zambia. Madam Speaker, let me begin by stating that land is a strategic national asset. It is central to our sovereignty, food security, economic development, and social stability. The government of the Republic of Zambia, under the able leadership of His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, remains committed to ensuring that land administration in Zambia is transparent, equitable, and aligned with our national development priorities. Madam Speaker, the acquisition of land in Zambia is primarily governed by the Lands Act, Chapter 184 of the laws of Zambia. Under this act, all land in Zambia is vested in the President and held in perpetuity on behalf of the people of Zambia. Land may be allocated to non-Zambians only under specific conditions, which include the following. 1, where the non-Zambian is a permanent resident in Zambia, in the Republic of Zambia, holding a resident permit. 2, where the non-Zambian is an investor within the meaning of the Investment Act or any other law relating to the promotion of the investment in Zambia. 3, where the non-Zambian has obtained the President's consent in writing under his hand. Where the non-Zambian is a company registered under the Companies Act and less than 25% of the issued shares are owned by non-Zambians. Where the non-Zambian is a statutory corporation created by an act of parliament. Where the non-Zambian is a cooperative society registered under the Cooperative Societies Act and less than 25% of the members are non-Zambians. Where the non-Zambian is a body registered under the Land Perpetual Succession Act and is a non-profit making, charitable, religious, education, organization or institution which is registered and is approved by the minister for the purposes of this section. Where the interest or right in question arises out of a lease, sublease, or underlease for a period not exceeding 5 years or a tenancy agreement. Where the interest or right in land is being inherited upon death or is being transferred under a right of survivorship or by operation of law. Where the non-Zambian is a commercial bank registered under the Companies Act and the Banking and Financial Services Act, or where the non-Zambian is granted a concession or right under the National Parks and Wildlife Act. Madam Speaker, with regard to customary land, which constitutes a significant portion of our territory, the administration of customary land is under the traditional authorities, and any conversion to state land requires the consent of the chief and through the local authority. Emerging challenges, Madam Speaker, while the legal framework provides safeguards, the government has observed some challenges, and these challenges include the following: inadequate monitoring mechanisms, speculative land holding, encroachment and illegal occupation, customary land pressures, beneficial ownership transparency, and government reform, and lastly, beneficial ownership transparency. Because of this, Madam Speaker, government has, in order to strengthen the legal and administrative framework, Government, through my ministry, has embarked on a comprehensive legal review. The key reform measures include the review of the Lands Act, which I'm sure members are aware that government currently, through the Ministry of Lands, have been going around the country, meeting the public, meeting traditional authorities, and meeting all other interested, including, of course, the private sector. So this is meant to, among other things, clarify and tighten provisions relating to non-Zambian land ownership, introduce stronger development conditions with clear timelines, provide for enhanced sanctions in cases of non-compliance. Secondly, strengthening due diligence and approval processes. We are enhancing interagency collaborations between the Ministry of Lands, the Ministry of Commerce, and the ZDA, Zambia Development Agency, to ensure that investment approvals are aligned with the land availability and national priorities. Digitization of land administration, Madam Speaker, is also being done in trying to accelerating the land records. We are accelerating the digitization of land records and the establishment of an integrated land information management system with enhanced spatial data component. This will improve transparency, reduce fraud and double locations, enable better tracking of land ownership, including by foreign nationals. Beneficial ownership disclosure. The government is working to ensure that companies acquiring land disclose their ultimate beneficial owners, thereby preventing abuse of corporate structures to circumvent restrictions. We are also strengthening guidelines governing the conversion of customary land to state land to ensure informed community consent, environmental safeguards, fair compensation, and better and benefit sharing mechanisms.
Order, Honorable Minister. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for watching Parliament Television. The House has taken a 20 minutes health break, and business will resume at 17 hours. And we look at business that has been considered on the floor of the House so far from the time business started at 14:30 hours.
Yes, Pauline, when business commenced at 14:30 hours, Madam Speaker did make some announcements. In one of the announcements, Madam Speaker acquainted the House with the presence in the Speaker's gallery of the following staff from Parliament of Uganda. The first one, Ms. Namata Sylvia, Liaison Officer, and Mr. Mutumba Abbas, Policy Analyst, and Ms. Nakasumba Fatina, Liaison Officer, and Ms. Kiasima Catherine, Officer Assistant. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the distinguished guests to the National Assembly.
And in another announcement, the Honorable Madam Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of councillors from various district councils, and these were from Kayema Town Council in Western Province, councillors from Lundazi District Council in Eastern Province, councillors from Kapirimposhi District Council in Central Province, and also councillors from Lukulu Town Council in Western Province. And on behalf of the National Assembly, the Honorable Madam Speaker welcomed the visitors to the institution.
In the other announcement, Madam Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Roadspark School in Lusaka District, pupils and teachers from Monique's pre and primary school in Lusaka District, and students from Supershine University in Lusaka District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
And the Honorable Madam Speaker also announced to the House that the National Assembly has recorded a high number of members of the general public visiting the institution to observe a sitting of the House. And she did say that this is a positive development, especially that it is in line with the National Assembly Strategic Plan 2022 to 2026, Pillar 2 on public participation. In view of this development, she informed the House that in order for the institution to smoothly coordinate these visits, members of Parliament who wish to bring visitors to the National Assembly to observe the sitting of the House must notify the International Relations Department at least 2 weeks before the visit, and she did say that this will ensure that the visits are well organized and beneficial to the visitors. She added that this will also enable her office to welcome and correctly recognize the visitors.
After those announcements, the House went on to consider one question for oral answer under Standing Order 82, and the House has so far considered 2 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80, and 2 grouped questions for oral answer under Standing Order 83.
And currently on the floor of the House is a private member's motion that has been moved by Mr. Christopher Kangombe, Member of Parliament for Kamfinsa. This motion is titled Review and Strengthen Legal and Administrative Framework Governing the Acquisition of Land by Foreign Nationals in Zambia. That this House urges the government to review the land strengthen legal and administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in the country. And at the time the House was going on break, the Minister of Lands was adding her voice to this motion that is under consideration. So for now, we take a break. We come back at 17 hours.
As we prepare to commemorate the National Youth Week 2026 under the theme Arise and Soar, this theme is not just a slogan, it is a